Hello and welcome everybody, I'm Barbarian and we return right here to a day of destiny, something that weighs on the heart and the mind of our character Roger Bosso. You can see it right here in front of you. We have won many battles against our brother Robert and ultimately we captured him here in Palermo, or at least close to Palermo. And then I said there is an important, a difficult choice that we should be making. And that is, of course, what will happen to our brother. He has done a great many misdeeds. He attacked the papacy itself and, of course, tried to come for our life. He has also lived a difficult one himself. I will give him that, of course. He lost his wife long before her time. And ultimately, the pain and kind of the animosity that we now share against one another, well, it all isn't good for the soul. So I ask you, the members of the Council of Bavaria, should we execute him or should we let him live? Additionally, I also asked, of course, whether our son, Jordan, should be legitimized or not. We got some pretty clear choices there. I'm really happy to see this. We now have over 230 members here on the channel. Not that many voted, but ultimately, hey, maybe some of you just saw the result and said, yeah, I'm okay with that. The way I feel about this is, of course, that I am well advised by my council and shall be taking action accordingly. Now folks, before we get into this, I just want to let you know that this is the last week where we are going to play the Hauteville family, at least for now, because next week, of course, there is a DLC release for Victoria 3, and I'm going to put on the weekend, so the coming one, I'm going to put up a poll. What should I be playing roleplay-wise in that new update in the immediately following week when the DLC releases? The idea being that you have a choice right there. You can make a choice if you are a channel member and on the Council of Bavaria. We're going to have a week of Victoria 3 content, and maybe afterwards, depending on what all of you want from it, we can return to this series once more. It's just going to go on a quick break, it's not something permanent. But speaking about permanent, well, there could be certain things that would be permanent that we could do to Prince Robert the Fox. He has been a dastardly man. There is no other word that I can use here to describe him better, but he is indeed already 76 years old. Many of you noticed, of course, that we also did capture Queen Bohemond. Now, I will tell you, though, that we weren't the ones that actually maimed him right here. This was something that he has been carrying for quite a while longer. He has served his father and, well, he hasn't really put himself into a position where he deserves my ire, my scorn. Many of you argued for this. This wasn't a vote, but I agree. I will simply release him. I stand for a re-emergence of a different position in this family. We cannot do eye for an eye and expect that our souls remain clean. And this exactly brings me to Prince Robert the Fox. I personally would argue, within the last battles, within the horror, of course, that was being brought, the attacks, the danger that came with the entire idea of him making it deep into our core territory, Roger probably has thought quite some time, maybe if I eliminate this terror, this horror, my brother, even if it brings, of course, a lot of blemishes onto my soul, maybe I do the entire world a favor. He had dark thoughts like that one, but ultimately, my council, which is of course you, but also all the characters here said, no, listen, your brother, he is not a good man, but your soul is clean, and we can hope for redemption. What you should do is to simply banish him from Apulia. We came here together, we served in Sicily, and he shall now have neither. He can live in Kefalonia. Do keep in mind, right, that he is, of course, the Prince of Kefalonia. That is fine, we're going to banish him here. Hopefully he comes to his senses, but even if not, we don't have to go and always, well, answer horror with horror. So with that being said, I am simply going to go ahead and indeed enforce my demands. I have defeated you, Prince Robert the Fox of Kefalonia, and I am with that, of course, taking over Trani and Bar. It must be so weird, right? He captured him, they saw one another in several battles, but I have my doubts that they had any, type of really resolution, that they had a conversation where they kind of talked it out and came out the other end. I don't think so. I think that Robert begrudgingly accepted these terms and then accepted the banishment, of course, to Kefalonia. Whether that is actually something that he will stick with, I am uncertain of, but yeah, I don't think that we see this kind of big family reunion here where they learn. This will much rather, actually, I think, happen right here in Trani and Bar, right? He looks around and he takes in these locations that were so important for taking over the entire land for the Hauteville family. And now he is the last man standing. Yes, there's Humbert, but, well, Humbert lives in Syracuse. He hardly has any ambitions. He didn't have any surviving children, so, Ultimately, our generation came to an end right here, and it was not a good one, it was not a peaceful one. Now, the other poll that we did also hold was, of course, whether Jourdain should be actually legitimized. It was a clear and resounding yes, and so in that light, I am going to do exactly that. I can't do it right away just because I do lack the prestige. It shouldn't be too difficult to get this, because our war now is over, and we even actually get news, of course, that the war in Serbia, you know, between the Byzantines and the Serbs is also over, so we once more are in a bit of a more peaceful period. I do think, by the way, that we're going to come to a natural conclusion. We are 60 years old, we are of poor health. I'm absolutely certain that at the end of this week, I think, we will enter a bit of a new chapter, making it so that the little break that we have there, the pause, actually makes sense as well. Now, what I would like to do immediately after we take over that land, we are, of course, technically over the holdings limit, and you know what, I would like you to assist me. 6 out of 5, that is actually much better. Yeah, I would like to do an inspection. This will be our first one, and I think that this is something very important for him, right? Ultimately, these territories, this is Bari, of course, and Bari was in a difficult spot for the longest time, essentially something that we had to wrestle away from the Byzantines, and then this is, of course, Trani, where our brother has based his operations from, and for the longest time, I mean, he was a good ruler. Let me see, overseer intent. I want to establish that my brother is gone. I need to understand whether the machinery, the apparatus that he left behind, whether they will serve me or whether they will sabotage me. I don't think adequate funding. You know what, let's do adequate funding. Why not? Let's pump a little bit more money in there. I am mostly, I think, visiting a place that, well, it rests in my heart, but it is quite heavy. Ultimately, of course, what makes us concerned here is not just my brother and what this means, you know, the inheritance, so to speak. Oh, yeah, I was just about to speak of it, and, well, speak of the devil, I suppose. My heart is also heavy because what has been happening in the north. Kaiser Heinrich IV of the Holy Roman Empire has claimed Rome. It actually gives us a decision, of course, as well. Restore the Pope in Rome, you can see it right there. I could give Rome back should I recapture it, and, well, we don't feel negatively or positively towards him. I think we feel just surprised by how much he establishes himself here, right? We feel much more positive towards the Pontifex Maximus, but ultimately this is a new situation. We had a very fair assumption, I think, and that was that papal authority would be large. He was quite well established, the boar, if you will, and then who he tried to tame, the bird. Well, it seems as though the bird took revenge. Initially, we saw a victory here. They, of course, got us as nominal vassals under the papacy instead of the HRE, directly pledged to His Holiness. But then, the boar came for the head of the bird, and it seems that the bird came out victorious. What an interesting story that is, huh? I think we saw it in Rossano, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. That is definitely one of the bigger impacts right there. What is this? Your neighbor's under attack? Oh, we see attacking... Oh, wow. We see a war here against Serbia, but honestly, Serbia definitely has this. Yeah, they're in a very good position right now. Very impressive. Good friends, good allies. Ooh, and we're getting a travel event. Is she traveling with us? You know what? I never actually examined this. Who do you go... Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. I'm taking all of my knights. I'm taking my daughters with me. That is incredible. Even the bishop is coming with. That is awesome. He is ensuring that the church is loyal to us as well. This is a great travel companion list, I gotta tell you. Heart to heart, long after most have gone to sleep for the night, I still find myself seated by the campfire. What's wrong? Flandine asks as she sits down next to me with a concerned expression on her face. At first, I don't know what to say, but as I start talking, it just comes out naturally. All my stress, my worries, my day-to-day issues. I just keep thinking about the time when my sister Emma died from being ill. I can't help but wonder if I should have done things differently. My god. I am getting goosebumps here, I'm not gonna lie, because the game really, truthfully, in this playthrough is playing into this tale. I have focused, and I think this is a human focus as you turn older, as you look towards the new generation that you will never experience. You will never see them thrive or fall, you can only hope for the best. He truly does take a look around him, and my god, he is one of the last. He only has 2 remaining siblings, one of which, well, he almost considered taking his life, and the other, Humbert, I don't know whether we have talked to him in a long time. It's good that we have a new generation like Flandine here, who is of course nearby, right? Do remember that we married her to William in Lanciano, so it's not like she is far from us, but yeah, this is just... It's good that we have somebody who we can trust, who we know is kind of set up for the future, at least I hope so. And so instead of now being alone as our generation is gone, we do have people to rely on. What about you? So I could indeed share stories with her, understand her a little bit better, and she understands my worries. You know what? What about you? I think he is an empathetic person. He always tried to consider others, even if it brought him great pain. Could we become friends here? We didn't become friends. We are decently close, but I suppose that is it. And so we do indeed arrive right here. Oh, and I inherited Syracuse. He died from his wounds. Oh, he was wounded in battle. That is... Okay, that is very sad. The inn we stayed at in Pui last night was a surprisingly wonderful place. I don't know what the Innord staff did right, but something about the inn allowed most of us to sleep through the night so peacefully. This morning there are smiles on the faces of many in my entourage as we prepare to leave. What a wonderful place this was. Or maybe we should stay a few more days. I think I will. I think I will stay a few more days. Listen, the value out of this, I mean, it's nice to lose stress, but I'll be honest with you. He hasn't been here in so long. He hasn't visited a place that was so pivotal to his family's glory and story. Yeah, I'll stay for a few more days. I want to just see the ocean from this inn. I seem to be at peace when I'm home. That is, I think, what he learns here. Now, let me take this in. Eric died. He only had a daughter, but his daughter is married to Jourdain. I actually find this quite legitimizing right here. I'm not going to give this away because we're not going to be over the domain limit. I'm going to give Bari and Pui away. Don't worry about it. What a shame that your father passed away, Condessa Merta. That must be terrible for you. I hope that my son... You know, it's a good spouse. Let me double check this. Right? Track opinion? Okay, they're roughly neutral. What can you do? As I arrive in Pui, I'm brought to the study. A group of servants attend to all my needs and fuss around me for a while until I ask them to leave. How am I meant to focus on my task at hand if they keep running around the room? With them out of the way, I can finally start working on my plans, which is to... ensure that people remember why I am their liege. I do think this is, yes, important. I do also think improving the bureaucracy. I mean, honestly, this is the most pressing need, let's be honest, because this control right here is, of course, we just conquered it. It is not indeed fully properly administered by us. I think this is irrelevant. No, let's do bureaucracy here for sure, yeah. How are we doing in that regard? 54% success chance, that's already great. Gerard gained some money. We got some control level immediately. That's nice. I find myself yet again in conversation with some of the locals about how I should prioritize the restructuring of Pui. Move and rebuild the old town walls, my liege. Captain Oswin of the local garrison says with a wink. Think of how much more space we would have for a new residential district. No, the old merchant district is in dire need of a touch-up. Josimo, a representative of the local guilds, cuts into the conversation shamelessly. Imagine how much more lively the town will be with an active merchant district. I do agree. Most of our trade and most of our development focus is, of course, on the south right here. The Mediterranean is our highway, and that has been working in our favor. We have two characters here. Sadly, I can't click either. They are, like, grayed out right there. I think, though, with the threat from the north, right, I want to restore the walls of this fortification. We sieged it, if I'm not mistaken in my memory, in only 2 months. So the way I see it is, you know what, I do think I want to invest in the crumbling walls of Apulia. This would be invested in guilds, right, for 10 years. That's nice, nothing wrong with this. Room for expansion. Oh, that is also nice. You know what, I'm gonna go with this. I will indeed invest in this. I was hoping maybe this would kind of give us a better fortification level, but no, that is okay. I'm going to indeed invest into them. I am planning for a future where maybe papal control ultimately and completely slips, making life a lot harder for, you know, my heirs. After thoroughly scrutinizing all the documents I could find, I have managed to wrestle out some extra budget I can reallocate to alleviate some of the local infrastructure issues troubling the county. I only need to figure out which section of the bureaucracy is most in need of some extra aid. I really like the idea of going deeper and deeper into the local garrison right here. Let me just, yeah, improved control. Okay, so that is like pretty straight. I cannot get the tooltip because there you go. Control growth, yeah, that makes perfect sense. This would be improved development and this would be improved taxes. I will go with control growth. Let's hope that this works. Decreases marginally. Did we get improved control? Okay, yeah, nice, awesome. After a long day talking to the local landholders, I find myself troubled with a small dispute between merchant guilds, only to be followed by more noble bickering. No matter where I look, I feel like there's another problem waiting for my attention. What is wrong with the people living here in Pui? Do they even want things to get better? Well, that is not ideal. I am not surprised though. Like I said, this must be in shambles, given the fact that I had just taken it over. You are... Right, okay, yeah, I will sell you. I have no relation to you. That is completely fine by me. Come on, give me a success here. It looked impossible at first, but I have somehow managed to find a way to start putting things right in Pui, ending some of the local corruption and bandits. Though it is only a first step in the right direction, it is crucial for the county's future. Now, we just need to ensure we stay on the right path for the foreseeable future. Oh, that is so good. We get legitimacy on this, which, yeah, we are definitely lacking, right? Inspected taxes. Oh, that is huge for 15 years. Now I don't want to give it up. Development growth increases by 25 and gains inspection focus control for 15 years. Indeed, as planned. I love it. Huge fan of us actually succeeding like this. And as we leave now, I know I said I really don't want to give it up, but I do want to give it up. We have made a choice. As we see Pui, as we talk to our daughter, as we take, of course, in everything around us, the passing generations fading away, us fading away, what legacy do we leave behind? And the answer has to be that we want one where people work together. We have learned warfare, it is true. But mostly, we wanted to learn and we focused on understanding how to be a good ruler. This is something that has touched on both our active warfare, right, with the truce and peace of God, but also our actual rulership when it comes to governance. I will not have Richard as the primary heir of this territory. However, I will give him the old familial seat in Pui. He will ultimately, at least I would wager, become the most important ruler in the primary house of Hauteville, and I want to make peace with him. I will give him Pui, and then, once he of course stops being my heir, he will no longer be in a position where he has to worry to not have a future. He clearly slots in as a major part of the family. The other thing that I was thinking about, so Gerard is my acclaimed knight, so I can't give him away. Edward of Salisbury, right? If I take a look at you, you have served us well. You killed Le Tourneau. I think it's either Eric or Edward of Salisbury. I have a higher opinion of Edward of Salisbury. Okay, so that is completely fine. We also have him, of course, but I can't give him land. Oh, I would love to give him land, but sadly, he is just hanging out in Neapolis for no particular reason. Edward of Salisbury, I will hand you Bari. May you become a good vassal going forward. The idea here is that I try to reward people that serve well and that have indeed, you know, been trustworthy. Let's untick you. I don't think I need to see you immediately. Eric here, I also want to reward. You know what, maybe I can allow him marriage. So he is a lowborn and he is serving as a chevalier. Maybe he is a small-time landowner, you know, lower than a baron as well at this point. He has been rewarded. If you were not in a position where you would inherit this land, which he probably wouldn't be, the equivalent that we have in the medieval era is the ministerialis, which in the Holy Roman Empire was used very, very deliberately to create a power base for the emperor. So you hand out land, they have to serve you, they have to go on your military campaigns, and when they die it doesn't fall to them and their children. And what they also lack actually is permission to marry at their own free will. I will have him married, why not? We could marry him. I think the way I'm going to handle this, it's going to be Eleanor, and we're going to say that Eric essentially petitions us. He asks us for this. He knows that he's not worthy of holding a title, however, he is indeed worthy of having a family. Very nice. So we have rewarded all the most important people that went on a campaign with us here, except Gerard, I suppose. You know what? He should also marry. I think that is fair. He has been our acclaimed knight. Why not? The Lord, my friend, takes care of his own. I like that inspection, by the way. It really came all together. We only did one so far, but we were completely successful. That's awesome, because commonly it only defers it. It basically gives you better odds should you come back. And now we enhanced this county. We made it much, much easier for Queen Richard, and he is in a position where he has something to hand down to his only son. I love it. That is poetic, if you will. I created a better future. This is really the moral of the story here so far, I think. He is, much like all of the Alta Via of the Hauteville family, he is a good fighter. But what? Whoa. I was just about to say, but he has built something for himself and for his own. In the dead of night at our camp near Reggio de Calabria, I step out quietly. What was that sound? That's when I see it. Oh, my guest Blaive silently draws closer to my wife Judith, who is sleeping in the open fields. With a heavy stone, Blaive crushes Judith's skull, leaving the grass stained with blood. Blaive quickly scans the area, unaware that I've seen everything. My god. My wife is dead. I have uncovered the truth. The cold-blooded ogre behind my cousin Judith's early demise was none other than my prisoner Blaive. Oh, he thought he would get away with this heinous crime, but mark my words, Blaive will pay dearly for his sins. Everything that he just imagined, the good ending for his story, for his life, for his family, comes crashing down. Every last aspect. How can a heart endure this kind of pain without breaking? It cannot be possible. Yet here I am, my heart beating on whilst yours is gone quiet. Oh, Judith, my dearest, life will not be the same without you. Wow. There's not much that I can say beyond that. I need to hold a funeral. I need to bury her where we founded this new house, chose our new destiny in Tropea. Thank God I can do it. Thank God she's on that list. I'm gonna go with the dignified ceremonials. I don't think he would want to go for anything more there, but yeah, he needs to mourn. He needs to mourn. I can't believe this. He killed her. The funeral will come before we decide what to do with him. I do believe so. Let me check before we do anything else here. So, you can't be sold. You're a good fighter. Have nothing against him. Of course, this recruitment just happens kind of in the back. Blage is, a great commander, I suppose. But you know what? I don't need you. Blaive? Good God, Blaive. Maybe I will let him linger in prison. Tropea is to be Judith's final resting place, and I am left alone to gather my thoughts and prepare for the arrival of the honored mourners. They're all coming. They've all worked with my wife in one capacity or another. Maybe they are their children, her relatives, vassals. Look at this long, long list. She has built something. I cannot believe that she was murdered under those circumstances. I'm not going to remarry. That should be clear here, I think. Robert Drongeau, they all come. Gerard, yeah, they're all here. Jesus Christ, man. Now, in the meantime, of course, I do want to highlight this. Kefalonia is definitely going to lose this vassalization war. The rest of the family essentially pulled into the Holy Roman Empire directly. It's not too much of a novelty. Again, this is a contested area between the Pope, the Greeks, the Arabs, and indeed the Holy Roman Empire. But I don't have any of that on my mind. It does not matter to me. Friede Sende in the meantime. Lisabeth. A new child has been born in our dynasty. Sure, why not? And oh my god, a prisoner in my own body. I knew that getting older would mean doing everything slower, but I didn't think it would all come to a halt until my death. Lately I feel a constant malaise, and everything takes more effort than before. I'm worried that if I lie down, I might not be able to get up again. There's no doubt that my time is running out. I feel like I can do naught but to await death's sweet embrace to claim me. How long will I have to wait? I didn't anticipate this to be this. I woke up today with sore limbs, experiencing vomits, persistent cough, and with an extreme lack of energy. Probably, this is just a passing ailment, but there's always the nagging possibility of being something far worse. Hopefully everything will be alright. And we did almost immediately essentially recover right here. I have to say it is probably Gundwin, but it feels like he's kind of giving up the spirit after the crushing, pun not intended, the crushing passing of his wife. Man, my heart bleeds for him. If we die, by the way, I'm just going to be honest with you, that is where we're going to call it for this week. Whenever we die, that is when this chapter comes to an end. The idea being that once we restart the series, whenever that might be, maybe quite soon indeed, but once we do this, I will hold a poll on who we should actually play once we are dead. If I die before legitimizing him, well, so be it. It's not always everything that you can take into account here. Kuhn Robert of Lanciano, he has been a good friend, and he is indeed, after all, taking care of Flandine right here. Already have 3 children. He is asking for Sicilian grain, and I agree. I will send it to you. Good to hear the grain arrived safely. Very nice. Gives both of us bonuses, of course. The prestige is quite high there. Awesome. What a tragedy. There really isn't any other way to look at this other than this is one of the saddest fates that he could have faced. Roger here seemed to do everything right, and yet every step of the way something devastating happened. I'm surprised. I'm happy, I should say, that he recovered, of course, from the illness. The, well, poor health here isn't doing too well. I don't change my focus into learning or any of that kind of stuff when things get bad, right? But, wow. Genuinely, just devastating. I don't know what our rule looks like after the funeral. I will have to think about this at least. I don't have to think about this even a little bit. Prince Roger of Calabria has given up the ghost at age 61. He died of old age, a hollowed shell of his former self. He had long lost his wits by the time of his final passing. Months after his wife was brutally murdered, he passes away. He didn't legitimize his only son, but I believe that the intention to do it was very clear, very obvious, I think, to all, that he wanted to do it. Now, Richard, I feel... Wow. So I like this. It's a twist, right? We had clear intentions, and yet, much like most things that Roger had to face, it always became more complicated than ever imagined. Prince Richard ascends to the throne. Being a talented military tactician, many expect him to lead the realm to many victories on the field of battle. He attended 2 major activities. Yep, he participated in that grand tour. He tried to attend the coronation ceremony. He did not, actually. He hosted various activities. Yep, we did travel a lot. This is a travel ruler. If I've ever seen one, he fought 9 wars. Think about that. So much of his life spent fighting wars, and he was still so against it. A devoted servant, distinguished, he founded his own house, and he died 61 years old in August, shortly after his wife. Okay, actually it's almost a year, but I think we can kind of smush this together. They died pretty quickly, one after the other. One very inorganically, the other one not so much. The murderer still sits in prison. Did they cancel the event? Oh, that breaks my heart. We're gonna say that she got buried here. Obviously, we're gonna say this. If I chose a new destiny, oh look at that, it's Gerard. So we don't even have him. We don't even have him as an option here. I should have selected him, I suppose. That's okay. We are going to call it a day right here. I want to take a quick look at the situation. But yeah, no, like I said, I want to close this chapter. It is now much faster, much earlier than I thought. There will be other videos this week then instead of this. We are going to definitely return to this, don't worry about it, but I want to end the chapter right here so that after the Victoria 3 roleplay series next week, we're going to take a look at the future here. That is, my heart is actually breaking. I cannot believe this. He was taken against my will, all things concerned. And now we have Robert as the last survivor of this generation, and it is not the best one. So we have, wow, a deeply negative situation here with Queen Jourdain. Let's take a quick look at Richard. So he knows that technically speaking, Jourdain should have been the one inheriting. It was promised to him that, you know, once he returns from Trani, he would have actually legitimized him, but of course that never happened. Judith died, and then immediately after the funeral followed, there was no time for legitimization. And he ultimately never got legitimized. I think there will be many people that look at Jourdain and say he should be the ruler. It was something that his father wanted, but that doesn't mean that he is the ruler. There's a deeply negative relation right there. Other than that, we only have a ward. We feel, well, neutral towards the Emperor. Very positive, actually, towards the Pontifex Maximus. That is very interesting. The Serbians, merely neutral as well. The realm of Calabria, the entire ordeal in Sicily, is taking a complete shift. I'm not sure what that will mean, what that will bring for us, how Queen Jourdain will feel about this. I need you to talk to me about this in the comments. The best laid plans of mice and men. That is really what this entire series is about, isn't it? Prince Roger Boso, I think, has not had a single happy moment in so long. Maybe when he returned to Trani and it almost seemed like with his family, of course, with where is she? There she is, with Flandine. Maybe a new beginning, maybe a new chapter could actually occur. It seemed for just a moment like it could happen, and then it didn't. Folks, I am heartbroken. Let me know what you think in the comments. Obviously, this is shorter than I anticipated, but roleplay, I can already tell you this. Thank you so much for the support by the members, by the Council of Bavaria. It is here to stay. And one of your decisions wasn't honored, because he is still a bastard. I'll be honest with you, when we return to this series, I'm going to hold votes on when that will be, of course, but when we do this, I will also hold a vote on whether we should play Jourdain, or whether we should play Richard, or maybe somebody else that I could find that could be interesting. We could theoretically play, for example, Bohemond. Interesting options right here, folks. I will leave it here, though. I gotta recover from what just happened in this video. For now, I will see you later, alligator.